A one-day series has begun. Now a T20 series is beginning. And no, it's not India, Sri Lanka, West Indies versus Australia. And we are back here to talk about it at Time Out with Sports Agda. Hello, Arun. Another T20 series, another interesting series between two opponents who've known each other, who played each other so many times in the past. There's a lot of history to it. This is a new format, but I mean, the rivalry is West Indies, Australia is still going to be strong, isn't it?
The rivalry is strong, yes. I mean, that's for us cricket romantics who watched it, from 1970 or 1980. But these two teams haven't met a lot in T20, Dakil. I was just looking at the head-to-head between these two teams in T20 internationals, obviously. You'll be astonished to know. I mean, the numbers are 6 wins to West Indies, 5 to Australia. But in the fine print, you will read the last meeting was 28th of March 2014.
Hmm.
It's a good 7 years that these two teams haven't met in a T20 international. Unbelievable.
Wow. Wow, this is an indication of the economics of the game, Arun. West Indies, while they are an attractive T20 teams for us fans to look at and like cheer for them, uh, it's not really making commercial sense maybe for them to play too much against Australia, like exactly how West Indies are not getting enough test matches. So this is a very interesting stat, puts into line the commercial aspect of how the game is evolving. Earlier, you would have imagined West Indies and Australia to be the top draw. They would have played as much T20 cricket. West Indies would have been invited to Australia to play a series of matches regularly every season on season under lights, with all their champions coming and bowling quick and hitting sixes. Even though they still have champions, they still hit sixes, but the economics of the game have changed.
Absolutely right. I mean, we've all marveled at Viv Richards against Dennis Lilly, against Jeff Thompson, Brian Lara versus McGrath, or Damien Fleming, Gillespie, Shane Warne. But look how you're right. The economics have completely changed now. West Indies as a team are no longer attractive in Australia. The same with the other way around as well. Australia don't really place too many. The calendar also comes into equation. You've got the FTP, but commercials are overriding all of this.
Hmm. And if you look at it, Arun, since 2014, or even actually when we go back and say since T20 international cricket has begun, West Indies have won two titles, and Australia have still not won anything in the
No,
T20 format.
T20
So
format.
it's
Yeah,
I
that eludes
it's
him.
an irony that West in Australia, who've been dominating world cricket for like the longest in white ball for a while now, they still have not been able to crack T20. And West Indies, with all the problems that they've had, they've won two world titles, which is I still find astonishing. And it's a tribute when they come together and play at the T20 World Cup. It's a real celebration for me to watch them play.
It is. It is. I mean, that's the thing about the West Indies. I mean, 2016 they won, yes, but I don't know, Akhil, what's happened since then. We look at the ICC ranking. I mean, it's astonishing to see the difference. We spoke about England, but it's astonishing that West Indies, defending champions, are ranked
Hmm.
eighth in the world, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I cannot make sense of these rankings. I cannot make sense of the fact that West Indies are not able to dominate the T20 landscape when their players are, so wanted around the world. Talk about IPL, talk about Big Bash, talk about PSL, talk about the Blast in England. Anywhere, talk about the new 100 format PSL. Everywhere West Indies players are wanted. Yet in the rankings, they languish at number 8. Uh,
Hmm.
Australia have had problems as well. Like you rightly mentioned that they've not been able to crack the code. Yes, they've not. I don't know why. It's not like Australia don't have players. Like you've got Maxwell, you've got Aaron Finch, you've got Steve Smith, if you want to still consider him a T20 player. White ball bowlers, you've got Mitchell Stark, you've got Zampa, you've got Stoinis, Pat Cummins. It's not like they lack players. The results just don't seem to happen.
Hmm. Hmm. No, I was thinking about a point when you were making about West Indies ranked at number 8. You remember how Goran Ivanisevic was a huge player while we were growing up, and at Wimbledon he won the title when he was unseeded. So can you imagine West Indies for me are like Goran Ivanisevic at Wimbledon. Everybody knows that nobody wants to play them because they can be just be flummoxed by playing against them. So they are always going to be a dangerous opponent. These rankings are irrelevant in an ICC tournament. Nobody wants to play the West Indies T20 team. They are the most dangerous side after England probably. And you're right about Australia also. But also one more point, Arun, I wanted to make, and this is not about maybe commercials of the game, but it's a very big point, and not much has been written about it. Steve Smith is recovering from an elbow injury, and he made a point saying that he's willing to not play the T20 World Cup and be ready for the Ashes, which is coming up later the year. Uh, so Steve Smith is a premium player for them, plays all format. He has a decent record as a batsman for them at number three. If you see, strikes at some 140. He's always been in the squad. Delhi have recently played in the squad regularly when he played the Indian League there. So it's a very astonishing statement, like for him to say that he is okay to miss a T20 World Cup. Again, shows the Australian mindset that they're still wanting for them. Ashes is priority. I think then India come as priority. Then maybe the T20 format, whether it's a World Cup or not. So that's how the mindset I think is operating of the players, and that's how the results have shown, I guess.
And I completely, well, I might not agree with it, but I understand, and I would, I don't know. I'm a Test cricket fanatic, so are you. So Test cricket is priority for me any day. But there's a rivalry. There's a bit of a romance when it comes to India, Pakistan, or Ashes, or India, Australia. So for them, for Australia, even to date, Ashes are the pinnacle of cricket. They may have won the World Cup, they may be whatever, but for them, it's about winning the Ashes. No inch conceded to be conceded in an Ashes. No friendly banter. No beers at the end of the day. Nothing. It's about make sure the Ashes are home. The urn is home.
Oh, absolutely. Great. So should we look at the squads, Arun?
Let's look at the West Indies. Let's run through the West Indies. It's pretty much more or less similar, I'd imagine, to the one that took on South Africa recently. Lots of powerful players there. Powerful strikers of the ball. Good fast bowlers. A little weak on the spin department, yes, but look, if there are 2-3 players who can win you games on their own, well, what can you say? Like you say, they are a very dangerous side. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, apart from the Indian Cricket Board, Arun, I think West Indies would have been the unhappiest for the move to have happened for the T20 World Cup from India to UAE, Oman, wherever the now tournament is going to happen. For them, the Indian venues were perfect pitches, smaller grounds, ability to hit sixes, always comfortable with that. Dubai grounds are going to be much longer. The pitches are going to be worn out. So if West Indies team would have been like a little unhappy at the move there, but still a dangerous team. We saw how they played against the South African team in the T20. You're right, spinners were a little bit of concern for them, and that's how I think Shamsi and the other spinner for South Africa, they made the difference in the series. West Indies middle order not really firing, huh?
Since you mentioned this, Akhil, I did speak to Darren Ganga about this, the former West Indies captain, about this. Let's hear what he has to say about the squad selection and looking ahead to the World Cup.
It's in the middle department that is the biggest concern for Phil Simmons and Karen Pollard. Batsmen unable to play spin, unable to rotate strike, being too ultra aggressive in that passage of play, not being able to build partnerships as well, and putting pressure for the lower order batsmen and playing those death overs. Luckily for them, they played the death overs well. They averaged over 11 runs per over scored there because of the power of Pollard and to a lesser extent Fabian Allen, who was very good. From a bowling point of view, the spin department will need some work.
So yeah, interesting insights from there. I think we're pretty much in sync with what Darren's saying there. The middle overs are the concern for him. He's pointed that out. The ability to play spin. This West Indies spin attack itself is a bit of an issue. There's Hayden Walsh
Where was
Jr.
Sunil Narayan?
Sunil Narayan still not confident. The official word is Sunil Narayan will make himself available to West Indies when he's confident about his action. Now, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not convinced.
I fail to understand. He's good enough to participate in a very top end Premier League. He's happy to bowl there and he's confident to bowl there. I mean, that same bowler is not allowed to bowl in an international game. I mean, what are we talking about? It's the same format of the game. He's a talented guy. How much is he going to be bending his arm more so that he's not going to be eligible to play an international game? I mean, come on, he should be. We like to watch him bowl, don't we? We want him to bowl.
I'll be honest here, Akhil. I think it's about time we move on from Sunil Narayan. Sunil Narayan
Hmm.
right now is not the bowler he was 2 years ago. And fair enough. I mean, 2 years have
Hmm.
passed. He's played.
Sure.
He's been found out. He's had to remodel or modify his action. It can get difficult. So as far as I am
Obviously.
concerned, I'm looking beyond him. I don't think Sunil Narayan, if he makes himself available, will be as effective. Maybe he will be effective 1 out of 4 days, but the Sunil Narayan of old was a threat every single damn game.
Hmm. Okay, fantastic. What about the Australian
Yeah,
squad?
yeah. This is the lineup again. 6, 7, 8, 9 players have opted out of this. So look at this team. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Australian cricket, but when I'm reading through this team, Akhil,
Yeah.
I can actually draw a line and say I can kind of distinguish. So Aaron Finch, Ashton Turner are batsmen, specialist batsmen. Alex Carey, Ben McDermott, Josh Philippi, Matthew Wade are wicketkeeper batsmen. Dan Christian, Moses Enriquez, Mitchell Marsh are all rounders. Then you've got a battery of fast bowlers until Wes Ega, and then
Yeah.
you've got the spinners. So there's a clearly, I don't know. I mean, Australia have gone back to players available on the basis of reputation, on the basis of what they've done in the Big Bash. But
Yes.
this side is not a world-beating side. Let's
Hmm.
put that on record. The batting is still not good enough. I mean, it doesn't have somebody like a Maxwell. There are too many top-heavy players, and the all-rounders can do a job, but that's once in 3 games or 4 games. You need a banker in between. I don't see a banker there.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, from all the people that they're going to be missing in the squad, I think Maxwell is the only one who would have made a huge difference. I don't think David Warner has been at his best for Australia in T20 for a while now. He struggled in the Indian T20 league also when he had come here. So I don't think he's really contributed much to the T20 format for a while. But Maxwell obviously is the biggest one in the middle order. He's been phenomenal for Australia, and I think that's the role they've trying going to be Dan Christian, isn't it? He's been around for a long time, and I think he's found some success in the big bash. So probably he's one guy that they're looking to pump up the middle order with.
Dan Christian, good you brought up his name. He's one player I've closely tracked, and I like what he's done. Uh,
Hmm.
I've broken his career into two parts, Akhil. Till he played his last T20 international a few years ago, and since then. Now look at the
Yeah.
difference in strike rate. Until his last T20, he was scoring at 134. Now it's closer to 150. His
Yeah.
economy is pretty much the same, but he's still a utility bowler, can get you those important wickets. So Dan Christian, for me, experience,
And
ability,
he's
can
played a
do the
lot
job.
in the UAE also, isn't it? He's played a lot there.
He's played in a lot in the UE. Believe it or not, he knows how to win titles. He's won titles in England. He's won titles everywhere. I mean, goes around. It's like Darren Sammy. At one point in time, people said if you want a title, either make Andy Flower the coach or make Darren Sammy the captain. Pretty much the same
Yeah.
with Dan Christian. He can win you titles, whether it's just about his presence there or him sharing his experience. But he's won a lot of titles around the world.
Yeah, he's a very interesting pick. I think he'll like the West Indian conditions also. They're not going to be very quick like we saw in the South African series. His cutters and the slower ones he bowls. This 4 overs will be very effective. So Australia know they have a fifth bowler, sixth bowler option there. Also, one player that I'm very interested to watch, Arun, and that is what West Indies is going to be missing is the leg spin of Adam Zampa. He was one player who left the Indian T20 league very early, citing some concerns. After that, I don't know if he's played any kind of cricket after that. But he's one guy who's phenomenal in T20 cricket. So I'm looking forward to watch him right now. Not seen a leg spinner bowl against West Indies in the last series, and he always picks wickets.
Spinners pick wickets. I mean, it's so much in contrast to what I thought, at least personally, when T20 was introduced. I thought spinners are there, to get punished or just make up the numbers. But, if you look at the ICC rankings today, Akhil, it's astonishing. 9 of the 10 names, the top 10 bowlers today, are spinners of all kind. You've got Shamsi, who's a left-arm wrist spinner, Rashid Khan, wrist spinner, leggy again, Ashton Agar, finger spinner, Adil Rashid. Look at the number of, leg spinners there. Ish Sodhi, Adam Zampa, Vanindu de Silva. The leg spinners are plenty, and Zampa by nature is a wicket taker.
Very, very interesting this list, and surprisingly, there is no Yuzvendra Chahal there, no Kuldeep Yadav there, no Ravindra Jadeja there. So, I mean, it's an interesting stat, even with the amount of T20 cricket that India plays. We still don't have a spinner who's capable of being in the top 10, which is either it's something that the rankings are awry, or we really need to pick one spinner who's an attacking spinner to pick wickets.
Let's admit, Akhil, that both Chahal and Kuldeep's stocks have dropped. Kuldeep's has been that way for a while. Hopefully, the Sri Lanka tour that starts soon is the start of a new chapter. But Chahal's stocks have dipped as well. But you're right. Yeah, I mean, spinners are ruling the roost, and I'm looking forward to Zampa. Zampa against Andre Russell and Chris Gale and Kieron Pollard. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, I mean if you look at the last series also, Arun, we spoke about Shamsi before the series, if you remember. He showed his worth by why he's the number one T20 ranked bowler. He bowled beautifully in the series, picked up wickets at an economy rate. He won South Africa one game just because of his economical bowling. And again, we know he's a Chinaman bowler. I don't think the West Indies were able to crack him. So Zampa will be he'll be a real threat for them. So these ICC rankings do show some kind of standing for the bowlers. Shamsi proved it, Zampa will prove it too.
Absolutely, and like I said, I'm looking forward to Zampa running. It's only 4 overs, but 4 overs of magic.
Okay, fantastic. So are you going to take a pick on who you're backing?
Oh, this one I'm going to sit on the line, unfortunately. I don't know. I'd still want to go with West Indies. I think West Indies maybe just a bit of noses ahead, as they say.
Yeah, West Indies for me also. I hope they really start getting the middle order in place. Hetmeyer, Pooran, Pollard, Andre Russell. You should not be losing series with these kind of batsmen. Maybe they need to bat for longer. Maybe you get them in early and allow them a chance to settle in. Whatever. I just want West Indies to crack that middle order so that we fans can just watch them batting.
Like I mentioned in the other show, Akhil, for West Indies, they have players who can destroy attacks. But what this team needs is for 3 or 4 players to come do their bit every single match. You can't rely on one individual. They need 3 players or 4 players. It could be a 10 ball 25. It could be a 8 ball 22.
Like how
they
they
need
do
3
in the
players
leagues.
doing that. Correct.
Yeah, or just get back Carlos Brathwaite again. I mean, he's somebody who.
In fact, Darren Ganga mentioned this as well. Let's hear what Darren's got to say. He's spoken about that middle order and what Pollard and Phil Simmons can do. Here's a brief, insight from Darren Ganga.
Andre Fletcher, Nicholas Pooran and Shimron Hetmeyer, they both need to deliver. They're maturing and there's a huge expectation from the West Indian public for these two to produce runs. So Kieron Pollard has to synergize. Maybe some other players outside of this list might be in contention for that upcoming ICC T20 World Cup. Sunil Narine, Carlos Brathwaite, maybe Shafin Rutherford, Kimo Paul, Brandon King, to name a few. But the West Indies will be looking to get things right, get their combinations in order as they continue to prepare and be successful as a T20 international team.
So just going back quickly to what Darren said, Pollard's still got options. It's not just this team. There's Brathwaite, there's a few other blokes on the outside too. look everywhere. If you want to win a World Cup, do the extraordinary.
Okay, then West Indies is it for me. You're sitting on the fence, and we'll
West
catch
Indies
up soon
noses
again.
ahead.
Okay, then West Indies for both of us now, and hopefully we'll catch up again and chat more about cricket. Lots and lots of cricket coming up. Looking forward to this series.
Thanks, Akhil. Speak soon.